Hello everyone, it is Sunday night and we are coming to you live from Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida, here to help you wind down your weekend with all of this week's indie and small press new releases. As always, I'm your host Shannon, aka Small Press Shann, and I am very excited about comics. And I'm not even saying this week's comics anymore, I'm just going to say comics in general, because every week I tell you I'm excited about this week's comics, and so at this point, let's just call it what it is. I'm excited about comics. We're going to talk about all of those and all the great things that happened this week at Bat City. But before we do that, if we're going to wind down our weekend, we've got to kick it off with some wine to wind down with. So we are drinking a Rubio Toscana. I know it's Italian. That's pretty much all I know. And it's red. So it doesn't really have too much in the back. It's kind of just like these are grapes that are aged in stainless steel. So that's pretty much all it says. So we're just going to go with it and see how it tastes. I mean, I can smell grapes. So there are grapes. Oh. That's a completely different taste than most grapes and reds. That was like, that actually almost tastes exactly like eating a grape, like a fresh red grape. That was yeah, it almost tastes like it actually tastes like the grape skin, which I guess is what you should taste in wine, but the fact that it actually does kind of taste like eating a grape and like the rich red grape skins, it's kind of impressive. Matt, what do you think?
I think it's good. I'm doing technical difficulties.
The internet is always a fun time. Well, we're going to be drinking this throughout the show, and it's light enough that honestly, like if you are looking for a lighter tasting wine for summer from a red, this one kind of feels like a light summer wine. Again, because it does kind of just taste like eating fresh grapes. It's got a little bit of the red acid kick to it, but not so much that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? This is like heartburn central. This is going to be kind of like right in that mixture zone. And just a really good, fun wine to taste. You need my help.
It logged you out. Oh well.
Did you log into my internet?
I could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Then it'll automatically. I should be logged in.
I'm not good at computers, everyone.
It's okay. Technical difficulties. Haha. There you go.
Got it.
Yay! So if you're joining us, please let us know in the comments, because Matt will be pulling them up in just a second when the computer starts cooperating with him. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, join in the comments on there as well, because we do check them and we try to come back and answer any of your questions or just have conversations with you about all the comics you read. I definitely want to hear what people were enjoying this week, but while Matt's getting that going, I'm going to talk about all the things that happened at Bat City this past week. So today we had the awesome opportunity to get to have the Mutiny soccer team in to teach all of them about how to make comics as a part of their team building right before their soccer season starts. That was a group of 8 and 9-year-old boys who got to come in and work together and also make some individual comics and art. It was a lot of fun. We had Sunday Craft Afternoon today, which was also great. We got to see some 20-something-year-olds like take over the craft room for a little bit there and like go to town making collages together, which was a lot of fun. Yesterday, we had Story Spelunkers, where we read the Free Comic Book Day issue of Barda to get everybody excited about the graphic novel, and kind of learned how your environment can shape what your character becomes, with how Barda was always influenced by Granny and the pits and Apocalypse in general. And then we had our incredible art historian Barrett Burke here yesterday for Slam Academy that was open to everybody of all ages, and he talked about comics as art history, which was really cool to see. And we had quite a few of you out here for that. It was we had a big crowd in the room for a couple of different points in there, and it was really awesome to just get to see kids like down to like 9 years old all the way to adults, and professors of animation and things like that joining into that conversation. So it was really cool. And then we had ladies and non-binary nerd night this past Thursday, which was a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody who came out for that. We stayed way too late, having way too much fun, and it was awesome. Let's do that again next month. We had story time at the Rocky Bluff Library. There was like 33 people out there that were here for, there for story time. We got to make comics, we got to make up our own superheroes, we got to make masks, and we read some really fun stories and learned how to be superheroes on our own. So that was really great. Thank you to Rocky Bluff for having us out. And then we had an awesome time at the Bishop Museum this last Tuesday. I got the honor of talking about the history of comics in American culture, which went from comic squares to comic strips to comic books, all the political influence of political cartoons and just comics in general, and the Comics Code Authority, the social impact, the pop culture sense that has come from comic strips and comics as a medium in general. So it was really cool to get to do that. If you didn't get to go, it was awesome. The images of all the strips and books pops up on the planetarium screen, which blew my mind the first time we ran through the presentation to make sure everything, did the tech thing to make sure everything was working. It was awesome to get to see. And thank you to everybody who came out. We had the largest attended think and drink at the Bishop. So thank you everybody for coming and supporting that and just being a part of that. We have had so many requests for more lectures, so we will be adding to our lecture series for the fall for all the things that we just have so many more things to talk about and so many things to hear from you on. So we will definitely be adding to those, so keep an eye out. This week, there is not going to be any events at Bat City throughout the week, with the exception of Santiago Storytime on Santiago Saturday, which is the 27th at 11:30. Santiago will be in the kids section reading a story. Come out and hang out with him. But we will not have any events because this week Matt and myself will be flying out to San Diego Comic-Con. It's super exciting. We're going to get to meet with all of our industry friends, all the publishers, the distributors, and we're going to get to go to the Eisners because thanks to all of you wonderful Bat Fam members, we were nominated for the Eisner Spirit of Comics Retailer Award. We're so excited to have been nominated. We made it to the finals. And now we are in the top 5 stores in the entire world, and we will be finding out who the winner of that prize is this upcoming Friday night. It is not live streamed. We will post about whatever happens. It's really gonna be really late for everybody here in Florida because it is California time, and we are announced towards the end of the show. But if you stay up, we'll make a little announcement one way or the other to celebrate whoever the winner is, because we're just very excited to be at the Eisners and be a part of it. It's such a fun, amazing experience. So thank you, most importantly on that, to all of our incredible volunteers who are going to help keep the store open. So Barrett will be here watching the store all week long. He is actually taking his vacation time to do it, so everybody come support him, be super kind to him. He is literally using his vacation to come watch the store. Our volunteer Alex will be here. Santiago will be here on Saturday and Sunday, and so if you are looking to get your comics, we will be pulling all of your comics and filling your subscription bins and the wall before we go, and then the store will be open regular operating hours all week long, thanks to the incredible volunteers helping out. So you can still come get your comics this week while we're gone. So and of course we'll be doing fun random check-ins as much as possible, so you guys can kind of see what's going on at the con. That said, I'm going to take another drink of this awesome Rubio red wine from Italy, and then I'm going to. But you got some shaking heads going on. What are we thinking now that you've had a chance?
It's nice.
It's nice.
Might be a nice dinner wine.
It would definitely. I feel like it would be a good summer dinner.
It's very light.
It's very light, and definitely would go good with some food. But I think if you ate it with something during the summer, it would, took it to a picnic even. I don't know if people take wine to picnics. They make wine picnic glasses, so I assume people do.
Yeah, they have glasses in them and stuff.
Yeah.
It's very light, but it has a lot of flavor to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, check it out. All right, well, we're going to talk about some comics. We're going to get right into it with What's the Furthest Place from Here, issue 19 from Image Comics. Every time I think that Tyler Boss and Matthew Rosenberg are just going to end this comic, they completely change directions on me and make me start all over again. And this is another instance of that. So most recently, we kind of saw the backstory of what kind of led to the beginning of What's the Furthest Place from Here. So if you don't know, the series is about a world where if you're over the age of 18, they believe that you get like this wild virus and you die and you become like a monster or all of the above. And so people must leave. Every kid has been broken into kind of clans like the Warriors, and they have been living their lives. Well, at the very first issue, we had a girl named Sid who found herself pregnant, which nobody knew what that meant. She thought it meant that she was getting the disease because she was getting older, so she left the family. And we kind of saw the family looking for her all the time, and then we got to see her story in the last arc as she figured out the truth to the society and everything that was going on. Well, now we have switched to a completely different character who has stumbled upon a lighthouse and a person who can see the future, who has given him the map, a map that we kind of seem familiar with at this point. And we see how these people believe that the world became what it is. And so we're learning once again from a different family of people, just this weird mythology of how things have been spread. And now we know what actually happened, so it's kind of even more funny to see what these kids all believe happened to them and all of the reliance they have had on the lack of adults to tell them truth and oral history. But we're going to see that our team, our family, has found themselves back in trouble again. And are they ever going to find a safe place? Is there such a thing as a safe place? Is there really a world at the furthest place from here? We're going to find out someday, but until then, Tyler and Matthew are going to continue to take us on a great adventure with some amazing characters. Speaking of great adventures, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures, issue 15 from IDW. If you're a fan of the Ninja Turtles cartoon and you are not reading this comic, you're missing out on some really great episodes, essentially, of the show. And last time we had the Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures, they teased that they were going to be introducing us to a pantheon of new villains, and we get them all in this issue. So the Turtles most recently were set to fight up against every villain that they've ever faced from the past, present, and future. And a rat queen was amongst them, who was actually a rat, unlike the Rat King. And she was like, hey, I don't know who this is, like, these aren't my bad guys. And so she was sent back to her universe. Well, in that, they realized that if these were the greatest enemies of all time, that they should probably get involved in them. So now they are actually future villains of the Ninja Turtles. Except these guys are smart, and they realize that the Turtles are, like, got a major hero complex, and if they think that somebody is a good guy on their side, that they will let them kind of go and do what they please. And so they have an elaborate scheme to bring in other villains first, to make the turtles think that they're fighting those guys, and that they have come to help save the turtles and our world from these other villains, and they are going to hopefully be able to sucker the turtles into believing their goodness. But one turtle is not so quick to fall for it, and we are going to find out who towards the end of the issue and into the next one. So again, absolutely fun, amazing. You got to read it if you're a Turtles fan. We've got Briar, issue 7 from Boom Studios. This is what if Sleeping Beauty had not been woken up. What if the prince had decided, I'm going to take her kingdom, make a deal with the king, but I don't need to actually wake Sleeping Beauty up. We can do this without her. And now it's been that 100 years that she was destined to sleep for, and she has woken up to find out that everybody ran the kingdom into the ground, and now there's only these trash people who have been left in charge, and everybody kind of hates them, and all the different kingdoms are like separated, and nobody is getting along, and she is still kind of the curse. Like, there's still this dark curse that seems to be following her, and so she's met a person who is like, hey, I can help you get to where you want to go, to fight your evil wicked fairy godmother, the Maleficent of it all. And now they have teamed up with their own ragtag band of people, but because of her poor choices that have led her to them now being imprisoned, they're all kind of at odds with each other. Their magical friend, he has found himself imprisoned by being put on a farm to work with a family that swears that he's going to be their new son, and Briar and her companion have found themselves on an island that nobody is supposed to be able to get off of, enslaved there. And we're going to see if they are able to make it and how exactly they do that as the next issue unfolds, because a escape plan is on the rise. We've got Thundercats issue 6 from Dynamite Comics. Thundercats fans, this is really like shaping up to be just an absolute grand adventure for you. We're seeing this universe kind of expand a little more and more, but in this Thundercats series, they have found themselves thrust out of Thundara and onto another planet, and in the process of that, the Sword of Omens was broken, and Lion-O has gone from a small child to an adult who is expected to lead immediately. However, he's not prepared for that, and he's already made some really poor choices in the past 5 issues that have just led the team into some dangers, and of course he feels really bad about them. This issue actually follows Panthro, who is going out on his own mission to try to find some stuff that will help keep the Thundercats safe in this new world that they're living in, only to find out that there are a lot of mutants who are on this world who are ready to attack them, and they might not be able to survive as easily as they think they're going to. We're going to see some big stuff coming in this new arc of Thundercats from all of the team as they try to work themselves together, but you're definitely getting, much like the Ninja Turtles, if you were a fan of the cartoon, you're definitely getting a story that you're going to want to dive into. Unlike the Ninja Turtles, it's not anthology. It is one ongoing story, so you got to read the whole thing to keep up with it. We've got Man's Best, issue 5 from Boom Studios, and this is the conclusion to the Man's Best story. Teased as a Homeward Bound in Space, we kind of see exactly that with a cat and 2 dogs who were raised by a scientist on a space station, and now they find themselves lost on a planet, hoping to find their doc, their scientist, before it's too late. And we've gone through some really weird places on this planet, and some psychological terrors and some physical terrors for all of these animals, but now they have come to the final battle where they have learned that Doc might not be the person that she says she is. But where does their loyalty fall? Does it fall with each other? Does it fall with Doc? Does it fall with humanity in general? A species that they aren't a part of, but seem like they feel like it's their obligation to kind of protect. They kind of face all of those choices in this issue, and it's so much happens in every issue of this book, but we are going to see this ragtag team kind of figure out what matters most to them as they battle their ultimate boss, and it is heartwarming and sad and beautiful all at the same time. We've got I Heart Skullcrusher Volume 5 from Boom and their Boombox imprint, which is their teen imprint, and I am very happy to report that while this is the end of the arc, we are going to continue to get more I Heart Skullcrusher. Whew, I was really worried that at issue 5 this was going to be the end, but guess what? An arc 2 is coming our way, and I am so excited because this book is so good. This is all about a young girl named Trini who has her eyes set on being a part of a literal murder ball. It's called Screaming Paintball. The whole point is to it's like roller derby, except you actually kill people. And she has wanted to play in that league forever because of her ultimate celebrity crush, Skullcrusher, who is a part of it. And she has finally been given the opportunity to do just that by building a ragtag team and entering into competition where the winner is supposed to get to play with Skullcrusher. They have gone through a lot of battles on and off, like the courts essentially, and in this issue they are finally at the epic boss battle, which means they have to fight against Skullcrusher. They are literally playing Skullcrusher's team as well as every team that they've already beaten, and we learn that, you know, sometimes you shouldn't really meet your heroes because they're not who you want them to be, and how they got to where they are might be heartbreaking. We also learned that our team may have come together better than we ever thought, which leads to some devastating news at the end of this issue, but is going to set up, like I said, another arc. Woohoo! We're going to keep going with Skullcrusher, and I'm so excited because this podunk team has just become, as they are called, just become the greatest thing. I mean, she makes heart Skullcrusher, but I kind of want to make a costume and t-shirts and everything for how much I love her, because this character and this team and this book have just become an absolute favorite, and I can't wait for more. Thank goodness it's not over. We've got the return of Per Evil with issue 5 from Image Comics. If you have not checked this book out before, you're definitely going to want to jump in at the beginning of the story with that issue 1. But this is all about a young girl who has a dad who is a rock star and a mom who is kind of just entangled into things. And she has been hidden by her mom for most of her life because her parents made some really bad choices and kind of essentially sold her soul to the devil. And now these demon cats do her bidding without her even knowing, and kind of make everybody evil and corrupt and want to kill everybody just in her name, even though she has no idea why or how or that it's even happening. And so after being hidden by her mom for most of her life, her dad has finally found her and has brought her back to his world and is going to put her on stage in front of everybody because he actually wants, like, her evil spirits to come out and take over the world. Like, he's, like, into it. Obviously, he sold his child's soul for a reason. And so now he is coming out to the world with her and is hoping to put her evil demons out through his music and his performances, and she has no idea that that's about to happen. She's truly trying to just trust her dad, and we get to see some of the people who have fallen for her. We get to see her mom trying to come back in battle, and we get to see that a lot of darkness is heading our way, and we're going to figure out whether or not she is able to stop it and kind of just wake up to the fact that it's happening, hopefully in the next issue. We've got Quested returning with issue 4 from Massive Comics. This is one of those where this is a volume 2, season 2, whatever you want to call it, of the story, and you definitely want to have an idea of the characters, but I think they did a really good job in issue 1 of this volume of explaining everything to you. But this is about a quester who has kind of always just been second-rate quester. He's not really known for, like, his above-board choices, and he has been sent on a quest in this volume to figure out how to get to the ultimate, like, guy who everybody's kind of, like, had locked up in this underworld where the ferrymen live. And it turns out that that guy is his dad, and he is not aware that he's completely and totally the most epic evil that has ever existed. And so our main character, Jinx, has been trying to get down there to him, and they said that he has to go through the Witch of the Wilds. And so in this issue, that's exactly what he's doing, but he learns that he has yet another tie to yet another character and another stop on his point. This is for fans of I Hate Fairyland. You're going to get a lot of the same kind of art style, a lot of the same kind of humor, but we are getting a much more heartfelt story this time than we even saw in volume 1, as we are getting to learn a lot about why Jinx is the way he is and where he's come from, and we're seeing that story really expand for them. So if you like I Hate Fairyland and you're looking for another story to kind of kick off with, Quested is definitely going to be a good one for you. We've got Red Coat, issue 4 from Image Comics and the Ghost Machine world. This is Jeff Johns just really bringing a big universe to life. through this, he's got it's his unnamed universe, which includes Geiger and Redcoat, and it's going to continue to include even more stories as it continues. But Redcoat is all about a guy named Simon Pure who is anything but. And during the Revolutionary War, he gets drunk and accidentally falls into the wrong room and is granted eternal life by our founding fathers on accident. And now it's been about 100 years, and he's still finding himself doing all of the debauchery and terrible things and not doing anything positive with this eternal life at all. And a young Einstein comes to him and is like, hey, you're the only person who can save humanity. Bad things are about to happen. You need to up your game and get involved. And he kind of gets forced into this whole world of secret societies and possible endings only because his own life is threatened. His immortality and his existence might end in the next 4 days if he doesn't act now. And so such a reluctant hero that has never wanted to take part in anything has now found himself stuck doing just that. So this has been an interesting rise for Simon to see him actually starting to get involved. And we're going to see whether or not he's actually going to take on these bad guys. He's actually going to become a better person by the end, or maybe he's just going to do what he has to do and move on. We'll see if he survives, though. We've got My Bad, Escape from Peculiar Island, issue 3 from Ahoy Comics. This is volume 3 of My Bad, which is mostly anthology stories, but you do kind of want to get into it from volume 1 so you learn who everybody is, because it's kind of a continuation as the story goes on. But we are getting a couple different stories in this one. The first, we're seeing a little bit more of Captain Ohio's story as he gets to expand his world beyond just being the best local superhero, and is getting selected and moving up into the main world of heroes. And then we see the Chandelier, who has retired from being the Chandelier and is just our local friendly billionaire, has now started a bro podcast. That is specifically his terms for it. He is trying to live his best broadcast life and find other villains and heroes who may want to come on his show, maybe get him some sponsorships, things like that. The guy is completely daft in all of the best and worst ways, and it makes for a really great character to follow. And then we get a third story, which is Emperor King, who has been trying to take over the Peculiar Islands from the new governor, has now gone around and is trying to petition people. He's leaving signs on everybody's car. We do find out that it was a bad idea to possibly take acid chimp with him, because no matter what, that monkey just always seems to find some acid to throw on places. But this is also where his best friend does discover that he may be hiding some secrets that he shouldn't be from them. Seriously, if you like superhero comics, but you always want to see somebody actually do a good satirical comedy version of them, or just parody all of your favorite superheroes, this is essentially the Weird Al version of the big two universes. You're going to get all those DC Marvel kind of characters and DC Marvel kind of tropes, but if essentially, like I said, if Weird Al had written them. We've got Exo Man of War Invictus issue 3 from Valiant and Alien Books. If you didn't know, we are in a revival of the Valiant hero universe right now, and so we are bringing back a bunch of different titles. This is the only one that kind of specifically really pushes right back where we most recently left off before Alien Books bought Valiant. But if you don't know, the Exo Man of War is a man inside of a suit. Hold up, let's start there, because that blew my mind when I learned that. Who has been fighting Romans since the beginning of Roman culture, and the Roman Empire still exists now in the future and in space. And so he is fighting this futuristic Roman culture. And in the last arc, he was separated from essentially the entity that powers his suit. And while he still has his suit, he doesn't have that specific entity guiding him anymore, and he is determined to save it from the Roman Empire, which has stolen it. And while he comes to battle them and he thinks he's just going to destroy all of New Rome, he actually realizes that the citizens of this place are on his side and are not in favor of the empire at all. And so he is not willing to fight against them, but wants to actually lead them on a rebellion against this evil empire that is coming for them. But there has come suddenly and completely new voices in the Exo Man-of-War armor. And what he's been trying to, restore back to his original voice is she is telling him and warning him that these new voices that he's hearing are trying to lead him astray into destruction. And he might be giving in to them, even though he says he won't, as this issue comes to a close. We're going to figure out where that's going. Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad still writing that story, still giving us a great one as it goes. It's honestly the first Exo Man-of-War story I've ever kept up with in my entire life. And I'm like, wow, they're doing such a great job of building a universe that, for once, I feel like that 30 years of understanding has come together. Alien Books is also bringing us a series called The Valiants, which is bringing everybody else back into the fold. So, we're seeing Bloodshot, we're seeing Quantum and Woody, we're seeing Archer and Armstrong, we're seeing the Geomancer, we're getting all of them, and they're coming to us in this book. And what we have seen in this so far is we've been trying to work with our team, our governmental team that kind of leads the Valiants on their case, and they have everybody kind of in different places, and in the process there is this massive outage of technology caused by the bad guys that we are needing to face, and they realize that they can't see the bad guys, they can't stop the bad guys, they don't even really know what they're after, and they think that they're building towards a chance to save the world. They're all fighting in their respective zones, really doing a good job of actually kind of taking that down, only to find out that they haven't even scratched the surface of what's to come, and they might have stopped this battle, but they have only prolonged the war, and it is about to get really, really big. If you've always thought, like, hey, I'd really love to get into Valiant Comics, but you didn't, you missed out on it in the 90s and things like that, this is actually a really great way to get to know them. Or if you're somebody who read them back then and you've always wondered what happened to some of your favorite characters, even Shadow Man comes back in this one, so everybody's getting to make their appearance and build back that universe through Alien Books, which is really cool. We've got Heartpiercer issue 3 from Dark Horse Comics. This is one of our higher fantasy books out at the time. This is about a woman who is a great warrior in this world, and she had this ultimate idea that she was going to, if she was like the best warrior, that the person that she was fighting for would love her, like the dude who was essentially the evil emperor would love her, and she was working so hard to get his opinion of her to be favorable and to be the one to rule by his side. And in issue 1, when she brings to him all the knowledge that she has accomplished all the things he wanted, he does not respond in kind, and she is left for dead. And when she wakes up, she is discovered by a group of people that she has now been working to join their side and kind of fight with them. And she's seeing the fallout of the decisions she made while she was working with the evil one, and she's kind of seeing them come back for her as well. But they are, in this issue, they are fighting against the world of werewolves and the kingdom of werewolves that has been made angry by a lot of what she has done, but has also been made to feel like they need to fight back because the people that were supposed to be leaving them sacrifices have not actually done so. And they have come to claim everybody if they cannot claim their sacrifices. And she is not about to let that happen on her watch. And so from evil to defender of humanity, she is definitely going on a journey right now. We've got The Rescuer from Gen 7 Comics. This is issue 3. We haven't seen this in a minute. It's kind of almost become a quarterly series, which it's such a cool concept. So I'm glad that we're getting to see a superhero come in this capacity. But this is all about a guy who has superpowers, and really wanted to do the right thing. And so in the first couple issues, we saw his backstory of him kind of teaming up with the military and the government and kind of just fighting for whoever he thought was the right choice. And he kind of was just left disheartened when he realized that he was being used as a tool, essentially, for their own personal gain and not necessarily for helping people. And so instead of coming up with another way to be involved, he actually quit superheroing altogether. But while sitting there watching the news, he realizes that there's so many people around the world that are being hurt and in danger, and he has the ability to help, so he shouldn't put it aside just because the government was using him. And so he has decided to go out on his own and actually be a superhero for himself and for the people, and just kind of help them. And so he is going currently into zones, sorry, there's a fly, going into zones where people are being held hostage and is trying to save them. And he does end up coming into contact with his old military operatives that he worked with and having to kind of make a choice on if I fight alongside somebody, does that mean I am on their side, or can I still be for humanity as a whole, even if I have the same objective as somebody else? Into the Unbeing, issue 2 from Dark Horse Comics. This is a wild book. This is about a group of people who are in this world, in our world, once we've destroyed the Earth. We're seeing a lot more books that show what the Earth is going to look like once we destroy it. But we are in this group of people, and they have been sent out to kind of research different areas, kind of trying to find, is there somewhere on Earth that's still habitable, and are we able to go there and take people there? And one day they happen to see this massive entity that shows up as a life form in the deserts of Australia, where there are definitely no life forms. They go out there and all they find is this giant cave, except as people who can see the visuals from far away, we see that it looks more like a giant monster, a well-sized being. They think it looks like a cave. They have now, in the middle of the night in issue 1, their leader of their crew has gone into this cave, and the others wake up the next morning and realize that they are gone, and so they have wandered into the cave themselves, trying to find them. And we are seeing their adventure through this cave, which is not going well, because as I said, this may not be a cave at all, but a living, breathing entity that they are working their way through. And it's monstrous, and it's kind of awesome. So if you're looking for just some people losing their minds inside of a deep, dark whale, literally, of a tale, this is going to be the one. We've got Lawful issue 2 from Boom Studios. I am very excited about this book. I think this is one that everybody who picked up issue 1 came back in and was like, didn't expect that. Really loving it. Can't wait to read issue 2. And I definitely agree with them. This is about a world where everybody has been told for every wrongdoing that you do, even the slightest little white lie, you will gain some kind of monstrous piece, scales, a tail, ears, something, and that people who continue to do wrong become monsters and are ousted from society. And so they have a group of people who work for the champion, who is the ultimate good, and their job is to kind of like decide whether people need to be rehabilitated or ousted, because these are the clean people who never do anything wrong. We are following a young boy who has just made it into that organization, and his father was one who had long since been recognized as just an ultimate champion. And he is in this group because he needs to save his mother. As long as he's working for them, his mom and him will be safe. She will continue to get the medicine she needs to survive. They will have a home. Though, on the flip side, his best friend is one of those people who, she's not a bad person at all. She just does, like, you know, oh, I didn't do my homework for school, so she turns into, like, monster. You know, it's like those kind of simple things. Like, she walks on the railing instead of walking on the sidewalk, and so that turns her into another monstrous thing. In fact, there's literally a scene where all she gets in trouble for is not using the crosswalk. And so he is torn because he has, in issue 1, he actually, across his desk came the paperwork to send his friend to a rehab for a review, and he opted to not send her through, but now he is finding himself holding in that lie, so he is getting more scales on his chest, and so he goes back in this issue to change his vote, and he discovers that the truth about what he's been living in may not be what he thought it was. High on Life, issue 2 from Titan Comics. Get ready for some ridiculous fun. This is all about a world where we have sentient gun aliens. They call them Gatlians, like, you know, like your Gat. That's what it is. And they're from Gatlas, and they have a dilemma, because it seems that somebody is going around and hunting down humans, and they're kind of getting all the blame for it. And so they are trying to find this human bounty hunter in order to stop him. And so in issue 1, they team up with the human. They team up with a human who can help them find the guy who is trying to, like, kill all the humans, and Steve Buscemi. And they meet at essentially Applebee's and have a whole conversation about their history and how they got involved in this and who they think that the guy killing all the humans is. And they're like, we have to be the ones to stop this serial killer. And so issue 2 finds us going on the quest back to where they're from to kind of figure out if their hunch is correct. Meanwhile, we learn the backstory of another character in this issue who is connected to it, who may have led our serial killer down the path that he's on. Hijinks ensue, ridiculousness on every page, but also, like, the weirdest level of heart worked into that. It's like, oh, that was actually, like, really deep and emotional inside of those alien guns that are oozy and gross and like to eat at Applebee's. So check it out if you need a good laugh and a fun adventure that is just a little off the wall. We've got the return of the series Plastic with Plastic Death and Dolls, issue 2 from Image Comics. I absolutely love this series. If you've never read Plastic, it is about a serial killer, a man who becomes a serial killer and goes after all of the people who stole his partner in life, which was a doll. This is the prequel to that. This is the story of how this man came to be both a serial killer and obsessed with dolls. And this is a great place to start. If you've never read Plastic, you can absolutely 100% start here because it is a prequel. And so we are seeing, in this issue, we see the backstory of him growing up in a house where his mom collected dolls and how each of those dolls meant something to her, and how he was kind of terrified of them. And so she goes through a lot of work to help him figure out a way to be comfortable with them, and just kind of get used to growing up with them. And so he gets to select his favorite, which of course we know later on becomes very important to his life. But we're also seeing him in real time working at a diner and helping his friend kind of find a happiness in there, and the start of his big serial killer career, because he is one of those people where if you do something that harms an innocent, he will harm you in return. And we're seeing the makings of that really come to be in this, and I don't want to show you anything else, but there's a very Norman Bates psycho meets kind of a Dexter situation where he's got those dark passengers, but he's got that good reason for why he's doing what he's doing, and he just needs a way to control it and filter through what's going on in his mind. Remote Space issue 2, which is also from Image Comics. This is the highest sci-fi book I think that's on the shelves right now. So if you have been like, I feel like there's not a lot of sci-fi because we have had a lot of horror recently, this and a lot of murder mysteries and things like that. This is bringing back some sci-fi for you in the highest sense. We are looking at a world where some of the creatures, so basically there were two different ways that humanity decided to try to survive. One decided to go in a very tech route where they kind of replaced all of their being with robotics and nanotech, and there's the one that like kind of tried to stay humans and build things as they needed them to help like the world survive. And these two have been at odds for a very long time, and now we are seeing two different stories. We are seeing the story of one such completely cyborgian nanotech built person, and that story of somebody who has stayed very, very human, who even hasn't changed in the ways that most have. And these two paths are getting closer to cross together because one of the people from the human world is now showing up as like public enemy number one to the Central Intelligence and to this other realm. And so they have decided that they are going to come after him and bring that death and destruction. And so these two planets of people are essentially about to come into a really big war zone, so to speak, between the two of them. And we're going to see, I think, that they're going to have to realize that maybe there's not so much of a difference between where they came from, and maybe they can come up with something that will keep them all surviving, because both of them are still dealing with end of world kind of situations as the time goes on. We've got Rifters issue 2 from Image Comics. If this is another one, if you're needing a laugh, this is a time travel comedy that also is a little bit of a detective story. This is all about a place where we have created time travel, and initially we did all of the wrong things with it, shocking to no one, and then they finally decide to turn it over to science, and then it gets turned over again to like other people, and then eventually we have to create a government agency and a police force that kind of monitor that people are not misusing time travel. And we are following two time cops as they have to solve some different investigations. In the first one, they had to go back to the days of Prohibition, where some people had jumped back in time to try to make money by selling booze to people in the days of Prohibition. The first couple of pages of this one leads us on the adventure as these guys continue to try to stop them, and we see just what that mad chase is going to look like and kind of what time travel cops police work is going to entail, and then we get to learn a little bit more about each of them as they actually work their way back to the current world, and kind of deal with who's got to deal with paperwork, who's going to take on other cases, like where they're going. And as they start to kind of investigate some big things that might be happening, they get called onto another case, which is going to lead them to some more fun and ridiculousness. It's absolutely absurd in all of the best ways. So if you just want to laugh with your time travel, check out Rifters. We're only on issue 2, so it's a good time to jump in. We've got Mugshots issue 2 from Mad Cave. If you didn't read issue 1, this is definitely a book that's got a lot to it, but is great for people who were fans of things like Newburn or other big detective books, and who like that Michael Avon Oeming style art, because we are getting those same kind of drawing style. But this is all about a man who was involved with a lot of crime, is one of those people who was usually known as like a closer and a cleaner, and kind of comes in, and he left his family behind, his sister and her husband and their daughter, because he just kind of felt like the crime families were getting too close and he didn't want anything to happen to them. Well, it turns out you can't really stop that, because at this point his niece, who is now 19, has started dating the son of the crime boss, who is trying to make his own comeuppance right now. He's really on the up and up. And she ends up disappearing. And so the sister has no choice but to call her brother back to town, a thing he said he would never do, and get him back involved. But at the end of issue 1, we saw Grace's dad head into the bar that is owned by the mobsters and go after the son himself, trying to find out what happened to Grace. And that's going to lead our main character getting involved in a way that he was trying really hard not to. Now he's facing situations with the cops. The crime lords know he's there. Everybody's on his tail, and it's really going to make it hard for him to find Grace. Meanwhile, we learn a little bit more about what Grace has gotten herself into in this issue, and whether or not anybody knows where she is, including the mobsters, is actually something we still don't know as things start to unfold in this issue. A great book for people who just want a crime-related mobsters, kind of story. Again, if you are a fan of Chip Zdarsky's New Burn, this is definitely going to be a great one to pick up.
And kind of Dick Tracy.
And kind of Dick Tracy, yeah. Like any crime-related thing, you're really going to enjoy it. We've got Misery issue 2 from Image and your ever-expanding Spawn universe. This is all about a girl who is completely connected to the Al Simmons Spawn universe. So if you're not caught up to the Spawn world, she's connected to that. This is kind of her own story where she has recently found out that she can kind of see situations. She can see beyond the world that we're in. She can see things people are doing. She can see otherworldly spirits. She's got a lot of ability to do that. And it's kind of opened her up to some powers that she wasn't prepared for. And she needs to get away from home because something happened with her mom, and her dad's just not handling it well. So she goes to stay with her great-grandma. And in the process of doing that, she is, in issue 1, she is attacked by some people on the subway. And she ends up getting pulled in by the police because she is the one that takes them out, and they don't really know what happened, and they're trying to get their story straight. But she ends up going invisible and disappearing and showing back up at her great-grandma's, and is trying to, use her friends as a way to help her investigate what may be happening to her now and where all of this is going. And we're going to see this story continue to unfold as she kind of figures it out. This is actually written by Todd McFarlane, so if you are a Spawn fan and you haven't added this one to your pull list because maybe you're overwhelmed because there's a ton of new Spawn titles, this one is a Todd McFarlane written story, so you won't want to miss out on that. We've got The Mammoth, issue 2, also from Mad Cave. And this quickly became a fan favorite at Bat City. Mad Cave is just really like crushing it everywhere on these stories. But this one is all about a group of people who are doing some geological surveying and working on just some research. And in the process of it, one of their researchers is actually killed by what they assume initially is an earthquake, but immediately find out may be connected to something much, much bigger. And in issue 1, we find out all of the connecting pieces of everybody on this research team, including that one of the girls had actually started dating the woman who died. And she believes that there's a little bit more to it than what we've been told in the past, in the quick research study, I guess, from the cops and everybody on what happened. And she goes home and is like, oh, everything's gonna be fine, I guess. Like, let me just get through this, only to find her partner in some weird way is still there with her, and she's not really sure like what is going on. She can't speak. She just knows that she has to help get her back to a place wherever it may be, and all of these weird ghostly spirits are coming for them along the way. And there is, again, something big looming in the distance, but the only people that can help her are her other researching friends. And so they go out and begin to check it out and see what's happening. This is going to get, I have a feeling, a lot creepier before we figure out what's going on, because there's a lot of the dead coming out and twisting and turning. And it's written by Paul Tobin, so you're going to get lost a lot of times before you ever figure out what's happening, because he is a master of misdirection and redirection in his horror stories. And so this one is going to be another great one for that. And of course, it's going to have a ton of heart built into it at the same time. We've got Deathstroke issue 2 from Image, Skybound, and the Energon universe. If you are reading your Transformers G.I. Joe crossover, this is the latest in that installment. We are on this issue 2, seeing what Deathstroke is up to. Our little Mars warlord, as he was. But in Cobra Commander, we saw Destro connect with Cobra Commander and learn about, the Energon. Like, they had all of this Energon and what they were doing with it, building robotics of their own, essentially, that they can use as unmanned Iron Man-esque type suits. And at the first issue of this, Deathstroke decides to have like this massive like arms fair essentially, and in it a bunch of people are attacked. The whole thing is he thinks it's because of some other warring group, and that warring group is being blamed for it, and they think Deathstroke did it to himself to get people to attack them. So in this issue, we are actually just seeing the two of them kind of go head to head, just back and forth, attacking each other before they realize, hey, maybe we should come face to face and have a conversation and realize what is actually going on here. If these two team up, it is going to be bad for all of humanity. So let's hope they never actually figure it out. But I have a feeling this has to lead somewhere. That is going to put us in some more danger that the Transformers have to save us from. So we're going to figure that out. Or Duke, because, you know, Duke kind of ran off on his own, and Scarlet's out trying to stop some people. So who knows who's going to actually come in and stop Deathstroke, but eventually I assume somebody will. I am going to take another drink of this Rubio Toscana before I get to the number one. It's just so light. In a good way, like not in a bad way. It's just like, it doesn't like feel thick even, like when you're drinking it. Like it's like the way the sparkling grape juice is really light on the thickness. That's kind of almost how it feels, except without the bubbles. All right, we got some number ones for you. I'm gonna slide that back over. We've got some more from Mad Cave, actually. We've got The Last Wardens. This is issue 1. And this is wild. It takes place in like the 70s, which I honestly, I don't know if it even said that. I don't think yeah, it does. It says 1975. I totally missed that until we had a return of somebody from war. But this is about a girl who's a teenager, and she's got a dad who's an alcoholic and pretty abusive, and she's trying to save up the money to get out. She's like, as soon as I have enough, you know, I'm going to get out. She meets up with her friends, and she's like, I'm getting really close. I think that I can leave. And they're like, oh my gosh, we all need to get out of here. We need to leave this town. It's terrible. And while her and her friends are driving back, like they're taking her back home to drop off all this stuff for her dad. And in the process, they end up hitting somebody with their car. And you think it's going to be an I know what you did last summer kind of moment, except they get out of the car and it's her missing brother. Like this dude that's been missing for 2 years that they thought was killed in action in the war. And she's like, I have no idea how you got here. I don't care. I'm just so happy you're home. This is amazing. And she takes him home, and everything seems like it's going like slightly well. Like she makes dinner for them. But of course then the dad like loses his mind on him and is like, you should have died in the war because that would have been heroic. And now I can't be proud of you because this means you're a deserter if you're back. And he's like super mad at him. And all of a sudden, the brother starts having like this like seizure-y attack, and then we just get covered with these monstrous things. No idea where they came from. No idea how it happened. Not really sure what's going on. But this like society of people called the Wardens show up, and they're like, hey, we're here to stop all of this monstrous stuff. And then we're just kind of like going with that. Like we should know who that is. And I cannot wait to find out. Like it was so wild. I did not expect that to be where this was going. I was like, oh man, like the brother's going to be a ghost. Like he's not really going to be there. Like, or like she's like the last warden of her town and she's like protecting it from this secret invasion. Didn't expect there to be monsters. Didn't expect them to be so gruesome. Have no idea who these people are. 100% in to find out. Can't wait to see what happens in the next issue. It's going to be wild. Witchblade returns for the first time in forever to Image Comics and Top Cow with issue 1. And Marguerite, is it Marguerite Bennett that's writing it? Yeah, Marguerite Bennett, who did Batwoman, stupid fly, is actually writing this. And I was like, dude, I'm so going to be into Witchblade with that alone. And it totally feels like Marguerite Bennett is writing a great Batwoman Witchblade kind of story. We get to see, you know, kind of the origin story here, where we learn, you know, what the like the Witchblade medallion type thing. I guess it's not really. It's like a little scarab that like is metal that crawls on people. But they dig this out. They finally find it, the bad guys, of course, and they put it on somebody to try to transport it so that they can find the actual avatar of this Witchblade, of this power. And so it ends up like we see it going all across the world to different places and jumping on different people. And each of them kind of just falls in line and does whatever. And then we jump to our cop, our girl in action, who is like, hey, you know, my dad was a cop. He kind of, you know, was my hero. Now I want to follow in his footsteps. I want to do the right thing. And so they're like, we see her going on this mission where she is actually told like, oh, this is so cool. I can't wait to show this. I'm going to tell you this really fast before I do though. So she goes on this mission where she's like secretly like going undercover, like she's going to be shady, but it's really just to expose like shadier people and find out which cops are shady. And while she's on that mission, the avatar essentially finds her for the Witchblade, and she gets covered in the power of it, which she's the only one that actually goes this far. Like usually like the thing just like hooks onto somebody and like they're able to carry it and like they're kind of mind controlled, but she can actually like morph with it and control it herself. And you get this wicked cool scene for Sarah as she becomes the Witchblade entity, and she's kind of figuring out like what that means for her, but she's able to fight against all these people and stop them and do what she needs to do. And it's like, ooh, maybe this is a great way that I can, like, stop all these bad guys. Like, I don't really know what happened, but I'm going to do my best. But the evil people already know that she's got it, and they are coming for her. And so, of course, we're going to see what that means for her as she tries to maintain her goodness, and all of these bad guys are coming for her. Is she going to be the light in the darkness? Is she going to destroy the world? Is anything, is she, I love this, is she the weapon we need, as they say? We're going to find out. But again, I think if you read Marguerite Bennett's Batwoman, if you like those like empowerment kind of stories of like getting stuck with something that you didn't, like the reluctant hero becoming just like an awesome savior of the world, I think we're going to see a lot of that in what Marguerite does with Witchblade in this. And if you're a fan of the old Witchblade, you know, try something new. Speaking of being a fan of old things and bringing them back, I'm going to flip these so we can just keep that going for a minute. We've got Biker Mice from Mars, issue 1 from Oni Press and their Nacelle universe. If you watch the Biker Mice from Mars cartoon, you need this book. I think this is probably the first media of Biker Mice from Mars that we've had since then. And so this is, we are seeing them at a time when their own planet is filled with war, and they are trying to, yes, Mars specifically, they are at war with the Plutonian, they're not Plutonians, Plutarchians have come and are starting a war with the mice. And the biker mice themselves are like trying to do their own thing. They're essentially vigilantes. They are not actually joining up and being a part of the war effort because they think that they, you know, kind of want to stay out of it, but they also just want to keep their families safe. But it turns out that the more that they try to fight against joining the war, the more they kind of get brought into it. And we see, you know, some choices have to be made in this issue because they go out to save one of their friends who they find out is actually very much involved in the war efforts. And she kind of is like, look, you can't keep fighting on your own if you don't come in and join us. You're wasting your efforts, and we actually have to stand up and do something and stop just saying like, oh, well, when it gets bad, I'll do something, you know, but until then I'm just keeping my family safe. She's like, no, we're at the point where it's too late for that. And so we're gonna possibly see our biker mice join in on this rebellion officially as we come into the next issue, but there is some contention amongst the group about whether or not they should do that. So we'll see where this goes for them. But if you, again, if you loved the Biker Mice cartoon, you definitely need to jump into that as well as the rest of the Nacelle verse to see how that's going to grow. And we're going to keep bringing stuff back with the Powerpuff Girls issue 1 from Dynamite. This is a great one for, again, fans of the show, but also this is a great entry point really for Powerpuff Girls because it doesn't feel like you need to know anything about them at all. But this is showing our 3 girls in school, and they're very excited about the fact that, you know, they're superheroes, but they're still loving their, you know, happy lifetime trying to color and enjoy school. And one day, the highly intelligent machine comes into school that is supposed to tell everybody what their destiny is. And our Powerpuff Girls are like, but we already know our destiny. We're superheroes. And they're like, but what if you didn't want to be a superhero? What if you wanted to be something else? And they each have kind of an idea of what they would be, which comes into reality for them, and each one kind of splits into their own thing. So we get a bunny, we get a detective, and we get a luchador warrior, which is fitting for all of their different personalities. And we see the story run through 3 different stories all at the same time as they each get to explore their world. Except each of the girls realizes there's something missing, and it is the ability to be the superhero and to work with their team. And they also realize that they may be being manipulated by a higher power. And so they go out and figure out what that is. And they realize that they can use what it is that they liked most about their destiny worlds and their individual personalities to come together and save the day as a team, but with their own individual pieces of the puzzle coming together. Super, super cute, super adorable. Definitely going to be one that is going to run a little bit more like the Ninja Turtles, because this one kind of wraps up that whole episode within it, and so the next issue is going to go into another story. So much like the way Darkwing or Ninja Turtles and all of that is going, you're going to see it be a little more episodic in the way it reads. Chilling Adventures presents Truth or Dare from Archie Comics. This is technically a one-shot, though it should not be, because I really liked the idea of this, and it left it open to give us some more to come. But we are seeing Trula Twist, who moves to Riverdale and is making friends with all of the students. And she kind of takes notes about each of the people she meets as Ethel takes her around the school and gets to know each one of them a little bit, and then decides, hey, since I'm the new kid in town, why don't y'all come over to my house for a party? And once she gets all of the Riverdale crew into the house, she actually sets them up in different rooms, locks them into the rooms, and then forces them to play games that exposes truths about them that will make them fight each other and maybe dissolve. And it seems like the whole thing might just be a ploy to get Jughead, because, I mean, come on, at the end of the day, don't we all just really want to be in love with Jughead? It's just true. This girl's like, I got all this stuff. I just got to win over Jughead. And it's like, girl, you could have just shown up with a hamburger. Like, you are going the wrong way entirely. But we learn her backstory and everything about her, and kind of get to know her a little bit more and figure out why she is the way she is. And honestly, I really just wish we could get an ongoing series out of this kind of story like the Chilling Adventures is doing, because I think it would be so much fun to see this character continue to grow and become a part of the Riverdale world. So let's hope that maybe she does, and that she gets the help she needs from this really kid-friendly version of Saw that they created for us. We've got the Luchaverse Catalyst #1 from Massive Publishing, and this is Rey Mysterio versus Tiny Blast. And so Rey Mysterio is a real wrestler, so if you are a fan of wrestling, this is going to bring out like a full backstory that may or may not be the actual backstory Rey Mysterio goes with, but this is 2 stories in one that connect, and the first one is about Rey and how he is a part of the Mysterio family line, and how that is a person who is chosen to wear this mask, and how the mask leads them to kind of be champions for the world and to fight for young people. And he is, of course, like, I'm not really into that. I just like the wrestling. I don't want it when he's a kid. But as he grows up, he becomes a part of this legion of people and is actually working to stop some darkness. And he goes into this temple where he is able to find the mask, like the original like Mysterio mask that's got all of the power into it, which he needs in order to help him and his friends save the world from an imminent danger that is slowly approaching us. And then we do see the story of his friend, who is Tiny Blast Jr., who's also somebody who is got that family legacy coming down on him. And we kind of just see him kind of going through like his own adventure where he kind of got the information that he was able to share with Rey Mysterio, and these demons that are coming for him, and all of the struggles that he has to go through. And a lot of it comes from like them thinking that he is his father, and he's like, no, I'm a completely different person. And they're like, well, you look just like him, and we thought you were him. And this world of family legacy and how it like plays into these characters, and their responsibilities to the world, and whether or not they're going to be able to actually work together and save the world from whatever darkness it is that's coming, because it is just starting to brew right now. So we don't really know exactly how they're going to destroy the world, but we do know that these are our only two people who can save it. So really cool to kind of get that. I know each year we get one big like real world wrestling book, like where like characters from the wrestling world kind of come into the comics world. We seem to get that like every year or so, but we also seem to get like the fantasy, so it's kind of cool to see like these two mixed together, where it's like that real world wrestlers on the big fantasy adventure. And if you didn't know they were wrestlers, you could read that book and you would not be lost. It's not like a lot of times when they bring the real wrestlers in and you're like, I don't know who this is and I don't get the joke. This is actually like just a family legacy kind of story. We're bringing back the Rocketeer again with the Rocketeer Breaks Free issue 1 from IDW. I know we always have people super excited when the Rocketeer comes back, so I'm glad we're getting to see pretty much a Rocketeer story every year right now. But this is a whole new story where once again Cliff has decided to put on the Rocketeer suit and go battle bad guys, and Betty doesn't want him to be the Rocketeer, and he's trying to hide it from them, specifically in this time because Betty has been given an acting job that is actually going to make her the star of a movie, which she's only kind of had these minor roles. And so Cliff has agreed to go with her to San Francisco, where she'll be filming her movie. And he's like, I will not be the Rocketeer. I'm going to just be here for Betty and support her because it's her turn. But of course, the second they get to San Francisco, children are in danger and things are happening, and Cliff has to make some tough choices. And even Betty is like, put the suit on, get out there and save the day. We'll talk about it later, which I'm always like, why do you have to talk about it later? Why can't you just be happy that he's the Rocketeer and he's saving people? I don't know why it always has to be an argument with these two. Someday she's just gonna accept it and you know, support him being the Rocketeer. But at the end, we do see that there are some bigger dangers coming our way into the San Francisco Bay. And so he's not really going to have the choice to step away from being the Rocketeer ever. And I'm glad he's not, because I like when he's the Rocketeer. We've got Paranoid Gardens, issue 1 from Dark Horse. And this is our new Gerard Way comic. So been a minute since he's done a comic. I know he was touring with My Chemical Romance for a minute. So with, you know, the Umbrella Academy show coming to an end, I guess he thought it was time to stop back into comics. But this is all about a facility where people go to deal with their you know, the things that are troubling their mind. And some of them are a little more like superpowered-esque kind of situations, as it seems. And so we are following one young girl whose name is Lou, who just kind of seems to just want to exist and kind of be there, and is always helping the patients and is always helping the people that work there. But there's something off about Lou, and when we get a guy with like Superman-esque laser eyes showing up at the place, it seems to be triggered exceptionally by Lou whenever she is in his presence. And so, you know, we're like, what is going on? Why is he like having this reaction? Also, we're not really sure that any of the staff aren't also up to devious things. Like, it seems like we're getting a couple of teasers that they might actually be the problem in the situation, and that maybe the dastardly deeds that they're up to are going to be exactly what leads to some more to destruction and danger for everybody. But if you've ever read a Gerard Way comic, you know they're always really weird and off the wall, and yet still have like these really cool stories like woven into all that weirdness. This is definitely going to be another one that brings us to that. So you are definitely going to want to pick this one up. My Chemical Romance fans obviously jump in on this because you know Gerard Way writes good stories. Umbrella Academy fans, you're not going to want to miss this. And honestly, if you're just looking for a really like weird story that's got some great character development already in the beginning, you're going to love this one. So great new start for a new series. We've got Elric, the Necromancer, issue 1 from Titan Comics. One of the things that Titan has been doing has been bringing out these things that, bringing out a lot of novel adaptations to us. We saw that with Dark Souls and a couple other ones. This is another big one that has that, and so you are going to get a really long introduction that kind of tells you what was going on in the novel series at this time and where that kind of puts us. So that you can kind of know what you're jumping into as you go into this story. There is a massive world of comic adaptations as well that has happened as already. And so while you can jump into this, if you're looking to be a part of the big giant fantasy world, you might want to jump into the whole thing. But this is all about Elric, who has made some choices over the course of his life. He's kind of one of those people who consistently goes into the battle and kind of thinks that he deserves to win, and kind of fights those battles whether or not he is the champion of the story or not. And he kind of is dealing with right now some loss that he had, because what the battle that he's facing in front of him is very reminiscent of a time when he lost somebody who was really important to him. And so as he tries to get involved in this situation and take on this new battle, he's starting to see a lot of flashbacks to moments of his past, and is getting dragged into some things that are going to take him on some bigger adventures and maybe into some darker spaces. This is definitely another sword and sorcery kind of story. So if you are looking for a way to get into the high seas even, while also following through with some fantasy and some battling, this is going to be a great one for you. The book series alone was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 books. So there is a lot to this world. So this is definitely going to be a big one to help you really just jump in and get a big fantasy world going. Oh, okay. So I am to my picks of the week. Wow. I did not expect that to come so quick. Oh, I forgot one. Can you get me my other one? So I've got one that, let's be honest, this isn't a real book, so it doesn't really count. It's right there on the little shelf. Babe, the little one. I've got one that's not a real book, so it doesn't really count. It's not even probably going to actually like go up officially on the shelf. But this is the greatest non-real book to come out this week. And this is your Chip Zdarsky News. This is an all-new magazine from Chip Zdarsky to talk about what's going on with Chip Zdarsky. It is absolutely hilarious. These are free. We do have them available. I had to put it in here because Chip Zdarsky is hilarious. But I love that he's got a letter that kind of tells you a great story. He's got a crossword puzzle to help you find out what it is that's going to help save the comics industry. And the answer is only Batman. Except for when it's variants. And then he's just got some great information about what's coming up. If you've never read a Chip Zdarsky book, you may not know that he is one of the most hilarious writers in comics. This is a great way to find that out for yourself. And again, these are free. They will be at the counter. So if you are a fan of Chip Zdarsky, you definitely need to grab one. All right, legitimate book picks of the week coming your way. Sorry, Matt, I forgot to tell you, the end of Fish Flies happened this week.
The end?
The end of Fish Flies. We have issue 7. I did not know it was the end until I read it today. But this is Fish Flies from Image Comics, and I'm not going to spoil the end, but Fish Flies always stars my character who I want to be friends with the most in Franny. She won that award at the Batastic Awards last year. Jeff Lemire has this amazing ability to make everything the most heartfelt story, and he does absolutely that in this. If you haven't read Fish Flies, it is about a little girl named Franny who does not have any friends and she's like the snotty kid in class. Nobody talks to her. She's got an abusive dad. She kind of is always on her own. She ends up making friends with a giant bug who is a man who committed a crime and ended up causing a young boy to go into the hospital. And in that process, he turned into a giant fish fly, which are these bugs that come over and take over the area. And Franny realizes that he feels lost and needs help, and she does too. So she has been going on this great adventure with him. In this issue, we are going to go back to the very beginning of the story and see it from a completely different perspective. And we're going to see a lot of the pieces of the puzzle actually come together for the first time. And you're going to go on a very emotional journey with every single character that has appeared in this book so far. And I'm not going to tell you what that journey is and where it goes because it's beautiful and this is the end, so I don't want to spoil it. But again, Jeff Lemire, way to crush it, kill it, make it amazing. It's fantastic. Napalm Lullaby, issue 5 from Image Comics. Was not ever expecting that this would be a book that would blow my mind in the way that it did. This issue was so fantastic. It's not surprising. It's Rick Remender. I always feel bad when my picks of the week are just people who have always been fantastic. But Napalm Lullaby is about a world where we create a new god, essentially, and a cult of following becomes of him, and it takes over the government, and the government is now forcibly requiring everybody to worship this human that they've decided is a god. And these two people, these two twins, have been trying to fight back against it over the last 4 issues, and they were recently caught and brought into that world by just the people who overly fall into it. And in this issue, we actually get the backstory of the chosen person from his childhood to adulthood and their connection, the connection to these twins. And we see an incredible story of a constant classist battle between the fact that the mother was a maid in the castle and how she wasn't good enough for her chosen one, and the child who was raised to be perfect, a kid who was raised to be the perfect example of what a child of this chosen one should be, and yet was hated by him and so was cast aside, and how bitter and angry that made her. And we see what a tyrannical government could become and how it can spur out of all of these things, and how our choices for what we believe as our gods and our people that we need to align with, what that does for us and what it creates for us. And this is just such an incredible example of writing. It's an incredible example of social, political adaptation, understanding anthologies or analogies. Sorry, it's such a great story in general. This as a single issue could be in the list of best single issues for next year's Eisners, because it does give us a complete story in and of its own, and yet builds out the entire universe for this book all in one process, and literally just changed everything. And just Rick Remender's writing was so incredibly solid on it. Rick Remender has a lot to say this year, and he's saying it loud and creatively and beautifully through this book, through Sacrificers, even through Holy Roller with Andy Samberg. He has found a different way to be a part of every genre and still get a really cool message across in every book in the most entertaining way possible. This is the best example of to entertain and to educate, and it was such a good issue. And then lastly, we have a very special pick of the week. I'm so stoked to be able to say this. Our friends at Also Youth, our teens, were finally able to complete their summer zine as we come to the end of the summer. So this was created by the Also Youth kids at the Sarasota and the Manatee County locations, which we work with both. I'm so excited. This is their zine, The Gay Agenda, that they created, and I'm so excited for them. They each got to share some of their art, and they got to share, they got to do some writing, they got to do some of their own art and include that in there. We get to see some personal stories as they kind of show off some of their experiences. I am incredibly honored to say that they did include a Bat City page for some of the fun times that we've had here this summer and throughout this year, which was incredibly honored, extremely honored. Thank you so much to our Also Youth friends for making a page in their zine for us. We have, I think is this the page? I believe this is the shots from Artie, who's an Also Youth member. It's their webtoon that they have. Which is really cool that they were able to include pages from their webtoon. It's such an awesome book. We get to see, just a fun playing with the medium. This is their first time really building out a full zine all together. And we're so proud of them and all of the work that they create all the time, but especially putting this together. These are also free. They are available at Bat City on the Don't Hate Educate shelf. We love displaying all of our local teen art, and we're so excited that our Also Youth created this and shared it with us, and that we get to carry it in the store. So stop by, grab one off the Don't Hate Educate shelf, and if you are feeling super extra generous, send a donation to Also Youth for this, because they are actually printing these in-house themselves, so you can always make a donation to them to support their continued use of teaching the kids artistic ways to express themselves. All right, that's what I've got. We've got a bunch of other books in stock this week. I'm going to fly through really fast. First up, Undiscovered Country, issue 30. Cannot believe that. That's insane. From Image Comics. That's phenomenal. Scott Snyder, Charles Soule. Way to keep going. We are still going with our Walking Dead Deluxe, which is the color reprints of Walking Dead, and this is issue 93, which I believe is the first Jesus. We've got Scarlet Witch issue 2 from the new Scarlet Witch series. Red Sonja issue 12. Namor is back with issue 1 for the Submariner's newest story. And not calling him the Submariner specifically, we're just calling him Namor. Invincible Iron Man issue 20. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora issue 5 of 6. We've got Laura Kinney's Blood Hunt issue 1. Coming your way. We've got the return of Phoenix, part of our new X-Men, from the Ashes stories. We've got issue 1 of Jean Grey's newest story. We've got Wonder Woman issue 11. This Wonder Woman series is nominated for an Eisner. So we'll find out this week, this Friday, if that takes some awards home. We've got Titans issue 13. We've got Immortal Iron Man issue annual 1. We've got, and all the annuals, let me stop there. All the annuals are connecting right now as a part of the Infinity Watch story. So you do need to grab all of the Marvel annuals if you want to see that. We've got Superman issue 16 with these awesome Zatanna covers. Way to fully go in on Zatanna. DC, it's about time. Give us more. We're still not satisfied yet. Spider-Woman issue 9. I'm so glad that series continued after Gang War. Amazing Spider-Man Blood Hunt issue 3. We've got Rat City issue 4 as a part of your Spawn universe. We've got Nightwing issue 116, and of course that's nominated for Eisners. Tom Taylor is always taking home Eisners for that. We've got Hellblazer Dead in America issue 7 with this cool Martin Simmons cover. We've got The Incredible Hulk issue 14 with some Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe covers. Sorry, I was just going to say, if you are excited for the movie, please don't post spoilers from trailers or anything in the comments, because we know there's a lot of people excited and we don't want to ruin anything for them. Daredevil, Woman Without Fear, issue 1. Look at Elektra being super cool, as always, as Daredevil. Blood Hunters, issue 4. Love to see my girl Hallows Eve on the Blood Hunters team. What If Aliens, issue 5. Let's just see what could happen in that alien universe if we keep playing with it. Annihilation 2099, issue 3. We are flying through this series, and this one gives us the Red Hulk 2099, which I know, again, a lot of you are really excited about Red Hulk right now. We've got G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, issue 306. This is still the Larry Hama run coming over from IDW. We will actually be seeing a G.I. Joe that goes with our Energon universe coming soon. We've got some great graphic novels and trade paperbacks in stock this week with I'm a Mess, A Guide to a Messy Life from Maverick, which is the teen imprint from Mad Cave. This is great. This is all about a person who's like, hey, you don't need to try to be a clean person. You don't need to try to keep your life in order. You just need to live and figure out who you're going to be. And we get some really cool art moments from this story. And I'm really excited about this book that I absolutely cannot wait to dive into. Doctor Strange, what is it? I can never get it right. Fall Sunrise. I always want to say Fall Midnight. Fall Sunrise. Doctor Strange from Chadmore. Speaking of great art, look at this insanity. Good Lord. This did come out initially in one of those oversized like treasury editions, but now you can finally get it in trade paperback form for the first time, and just really marvel at Chadmore's incredible talent. Thundercats Volume 1 is in stock now, so if you are ready to jump into the Thundercats and you missed those first 5 issues, you can get them in trade paperback form. We've got Deadpool Role Plays the Marvel Universe for all you multiverse role-playing game fans. You've got a Deadpool 1 to get you excited. We've got Volume 1 of Across the Massiveverse, which is going to have a bunch of your Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, Dead Lucky, Inferno Girl Red, just a bunch of it's the opening 4 chapters of the different but interconnected series from Massiveverse, so you are going to get to see all of those first issues in here to kind of tell you who all of those characters are, and a great way to get into the Massiveverse. We've got The Devil That Wears My Face from Mad Cave, which is an option for your entry for the Mad Cave Talent Search, which August 1st, we will be having our Mad Cave Talent Search workshop. You can come in with an idea in mind for writing, art, lettering, or coloring a Mad Cave title in one of their 4 universes, which is Devil That Wears My Face, Hunt, Kill, Repeat, Nottingham, and Battle Cats. And if you have an idea, you've already been working on something, you can bring it in. We'll help you work through it and make sure it's all solid and ready to go. And if you don't have an idea yet and you want to see what that means to be a part of this Mad Cave Talent Search, come August 1st, we'll help you figure out something to enter to be a part of that. If you need an idea, come read this book. This is Count of Monte Cristo meets The Exorcist. It's really great and fantastic and super fun. It's not fun. It's dark and terrifying and also awesome at the same time. But, you know, that's fun sometimes. Harley Quinn Black, White, and Red is is back. This is the second Black, White, and Red we've ever had of Harley Quinn, but this is the one that came out most recently. I love that they actually have it. Harley Quinn is Black, White, and Red by millions of fans. The different kind of red on the back, which is great. But this is just an anthology of 6 issues of Harley Quinn stories, all in Black, White, and Red. You've got Chip Zdarsky, Leah Williams, Zoe Thorogood, Kelly Thompson, Gail Simone, Teenie Howard, all kinds of really incredible people working on this book that you should check out. Oh my gosh, 2 of my favorite books are out this week. I'm so stoked for this. We have Volume 2 of Digital Lizards of Doom out this week from Paper Cuts, which is the kids' imprint of Mad Cave. I am so excited. If you didn't read Volume 1 of Digital Lizards of Doom, get yourself to a comic book store or a bookstore right now and get it, because it is such a blast. Digital Lizards of Doom is all about a world where a crazy evil pineapple has made this like virtual simulation that he's trapped all of these like different people in, including our buddy Dizzy Doom, who is a lizard, who is also like a wizard. Like he has these magical powers. He can keep everybody safe, but he has failed miserably in the first book, and he has been trying to like really get on this battle, which is against Commander EKO, who we are going to see the story from his perspective in this. We are actually going to see him come to power. We're going to see him come back and kind of figure out what Wordy Morta's plans were for this battle, and we're going to kind of see how this all ties in together. What's really cool about Digital Lizards of Doom is it's kind of done like text messages or game chats, and then you get a little bit of art on that page, and then you get a full page art, and that goes through the whole book like that. It also works in breaks, so if you are having a kid that's reading this, it has a little break spot in there that'll say like, hey, like check your battery life, like how you doing out there, like see you can have like assimilation and progress and stuff. So you just have these pages that kind of help you know when to take a break. It's really great. There is a fantastic puppet show that they have created online that helps kids learn just interesting facts. You should check it out. Digital Lizards of Doom on YouTube. It's fantastic. It's so wonderful. Gabe Valentine is building an incredible world in this, and you can be a part of it in so many ways. So get your self connected to the Digital Lizards of Doom now. And lastly, the hardcover of Somna is out. And before I even show this, yes, Anthony, I will put this in your box. This is also nominated for an Eisner, as it well should be. This is one of my favorite books that came out this year already. But this is Becky Cloonan and Tula Lotay writing and drawing this story together, and they flip-flop wherever Becky is drawing, Tula writes, and vice versa. But this is all about a woman whose husband is the witch hunter in her town in like the Salem time periods, and she starts having these really super sexy dreams that may be going beyond that, and because of that she gets accused of witchcraft. And where does this take us? You're gonna find out. It's so good and not made for children, but it is beautiful. I can't decide whose art I love better. They both work so well with the story and each other. This is fantastic, and it's one of those just beautiful distillery hardcovers that's coming your way. That's what I got for you. So remember, this week your comics will be here. The store will be open. We've got fantastic volunteers, Barrett, Alex, and Santiago, hanging out all week to help you out with getting your books and everything. Again, remember, they're volunteering their time, so know that they don't know everything that we know, but they are going to try, and they're going to do a great job. So we're really thankful and happy to have them here to do that, so that Matt and I can head off to San Diego Comic-Con. We're going to learn a lot of cool things, be a part of some cool things, and we're going to go to the Eisner Awards to see all of these books. I love it. It's my favorite to see all these books get their Oscar-like experience. I just love seeing books be rewarded for how cool they are. Guys, I just love comics. I feel like I forgot to say that enough times tonight. And so excited. We are also very honored and very thrilled to once again be a finalist for the Spirit of Comics Retail Award. And we will find out this Friday who takes home that trophy as well. Thank you for all of your support on that. If you have kiddos, bring them out on Saturday, the 27th at 11:30 for Santiago story time. He's going to be on the Ninja Turtles rug reading books and hanging out with the kids. So come do that. As always, enjoy your week of amazing comic books. We will be not live next Sunday because we will still be in San Diego, but we will be coming back to you as soon as we get back. So until I see you again in 2 weeks, happy reading, everyone. Have a good night.